Welcome, everyone, and welcome to the Paranormal Pride. I hope everybody's having a great Monday. Mine's okay. I had to work today. Ron didn't. Ron got to lay around and do nothing. He didn't have to
babysit. Is this yours?
No, 2017.
Okay, well, I didn't. Okay, I see you.
Ron found a Christmas card from 2017 and was wondering when it was.
I didn't see the year.
So, yeah. But we're finding all kinds of crap now that I'm cleaning up the house and getting rid of stuff. So, but yeah, I had a guest for tonight and the guest changed. So tonight my guest is Sean Elliott, and he is part of Hill City Paranormal. We've had them on before. It was usually Sean and Courtney, but Courtney's out sick. So we get with Sean, and I am so happy to let you guys meet Sean again. Welcome, Sean.
You coming out putting tobacco in my mouth. What's up, y'all?
You want me to put you back down?
Hey, it's in there now. We're good. That's talking about getting caught in 4K. There it is. That was terrible.
Oh well.
Just let your viewers know I'm an old country boy from Bedford County, Virginia, and we chew a little bit. You know.
And hello, Courtney. We hope that you get to feeling better, because Sean told us that the germ bucket found you and is wreaking havoc on your life right now.
Oh yeah, she's in another room right there, and she's awesome. I miss her over here.
Hello, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Tom.
Make sure you listen to that doctor. Do what he says so that you can get back to walking.
Backup? Is that what Tom did?
I don't know. He said everything was hurting. Hey,
Susan and Mike back from
21 days on a cruise.
The Antarctic or
Susan
somewhere.
They went to Antarctica.
Yeah, South Pole or
no,
North
it's Antarctica.
Pole? Antarctica.
So yeah, how would you like to go on a cruise
for 3 weeks?
For 3 weeks from Brazil to Antarctica and back.
Woo! That sounds like a sickness waiting to happen.
Well, but it is summer down there.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. So you might be all right. What's up, Paul?
So, and hello, Lost Souls.
Have y'all interviewed Lost Souls yet?
No,
no.
But I do know that you guys just did an investigation with them before Courtney got sick.
So Lost Souls are like our little, what do you call them? We're like little kids when we get together. Our whole investigation is spent laughing, goofing off, but it works. It seems we get good evidence. So they're great. They're a great team to interview. To bring up, hey Kim, hey Rhonda. Those are my other friends here in Virginia. Oh, I got my friends in here. It's good.
Oh, that's good.
That's what we do.
Shout out FPRI.
Yeah,
Fredericksburg's another good team you might want to try to get on here if they haven't been on already.
Which team?
FPRI. That's who Rhonda and Kim are with. Both of them. Now, those two are very interesting. Both of them are mediums. And for years, I say this all the time, and people are probably tired of me saying it, but I'm going to say it. I did not believe in the mediumship ability. I believe it exists, but, when you're in this field, everybody's a medium, right? So I didn't really believe in it until I got to investigate with those two and actually talk to them. And I tell you now, they changed my whole mind on, the ability. So, but both of them, Rhonda Harris and Kimberly Sage, both of them two are legit.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Who am I? When you actually see that, then the good ones are really good.
Yes.
The bad ones.
Yeah.
The bad ones you just want to call out in a really loud voice. You want to call them out, but you don't, because somebody always believes you're telling the truth.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't deny. It was a thing like you got to show me to make me believe it. And those two, after meeting them and even investigating with them and talking to them, they showed me some things, and they're the real deal.
Believe me, I understand. I I can see and talk to spirits myself, but I'm very skeptical of mediums. And it has nothing to do with the fact that they may be legitimate. It's all the ones that are not legitimate that have pissed me off.
Yeah. It does make you mad, doesn't it?
People. It does.
Yeah.
You know, there's people that have been taken advantage of because this is, this is a sad time in these people's lives. They want to talk to somebody who's passed, and some people get taken advantage of so easily. They're so vulnerable at that point. They just want to hear something from whoever it is. It just scares me that there's a lot of people out there that are going to get taken advantage of. And like I said, I'm not doubting Kimberly or Rhonda at all. It's just, I know that if I know that somebody is illegitimate, I just don't associate.
Right. And I'm the same way. I'm the same way. Those two they just talk different, and it's not something you hear every day when you listen to them. And it's almost like they're teaching you and not trying to. That's Rhonda. Rhonda, talking to Rhonda about, interviewed her on our show, and plus we know her personally. And it's like when you ask her about her ability, it's like she's talking to you and telling you, but she's teaching you, not trying to teach you. It's like you just want to hear more. Like, okay, keep going. You just want to get some popcorn, let her talk. And as far as Kim goes, I lost my uncle in a controversial way about a year ago. He died, and my whole family was in shambles because it was just out of nowhere. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to go too long into it, but I was on the phone with my mother, and we're laughing our heads off, having a great conversation. And then she clicks back over, and she's crying and screaming. And I'm like, what's going on, And so I talked to Kim, and I kind of tapped in, see if she could tap in her abilities and help me out. And after that, I was almost in tears because it was remarkable. And it was like everything that she predicted and told me would happen. As soon as the phone hung up, it happened. And, not to mention everything that happened, but she says on the phone with me, look for the blue jays, the bluebirds. And I'm like, I don't ever see a blue jay around here, I hung up the phone and I got a camera notification that a blue jay was sitting on my front porch, just staring at the camera. And that was the weirdest thing to me. I was like, I never see him. I mean, you see him every once in a while, but what was the probability of her to say that? And then I hang up the phone and there's a blue jay sitting on my front porch, just staring at the camera like that. Not walking around, not moving, just staring at the camera. Like, then little things after that was happening. I did a Estes method in a Civil War battleground, and everything that I was answering Courtney was answering questions. And it was all about my uncle's wreck. And it was just hand in hand. And Kim told me that he said he was going to still talk to me when I paranormal investigate.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it was just, I don't believe in coincidences.
Yeah, we see cardinals often, and we associate that more to Ron's dad than anybody else.
Right.
And only because of the fact that, well, he was a huge Cardinal fan. He wanted to play for the Cardinals. He moved to St. Louis to be near the Cardinals.
Oh, wow.
So needless to say, it's him. But here lately, I've been seeing a lot of bluebirds, and it's not even bluebird season, not blue jays, bluebirds. And I don't know why suddenly. So, but I don't know. The most unique thing I've seen lately was about a month and a half ago, I guess. We saw a white squirrel.
No, I've never seen one of those.
It's supposed to be good luck. It's supposed to be good luck. So, oh, wow. Thank you, Crystal. Let us know those dates, and I'll let you know what we have available.
What's up, Crystal?
We had
definitely.
Yeah, we had
definitely like to go back.
Here we have black ones,
battlefields,
red ones, gray ones, and now white. I did not know about the white ones.
I've heard of them, but I've never seen one. And I'm in the woods a lot. I hunt So, I don't ever see them.
Oh my gosh, it's like one in
100,000. I mean, it's rare.
Yeah.
That's why they say it's good luck to find one. But there is a town in North Carolina where there's more than normal.
Oh, wow.
So when you guys did that investigation around New Year's, where was it?
New Year's. I believe that was Octagon Mansion. Is the one you're talking about. The Octagon Mansion 585, and I have to say 585 because it seems like there's an Octagon Mansion in every city. The first time we went there, it wasn't very active for us. And the John and Debbie Cushman run that. Great, fantastic people, super nice, and great hosts, by the way. The second time we went back, it was very active. A lot of teams seem to get a lot of stuff there. Maybe we were having an off night that night. We went, and sometimes the most haunted places will be quiet. But when I investigate, I look for what I call real paranormal activity, stuff that's more natural than equipment. And I'll tell you, we took Boo Buddy with us. Y'all know what Boo Buddy is, right? So we took that and left it in the kids' room, and we all went to the basement. And when Boo Buddy asked for its knock sequence, it was a loud knock on the wall, like very audible, clear as to what it was. And there's no way it could have been any of us, And to me, that was great. That was fantastic. So it was a great night. We did it with Lost Souls. I believe that's the one y'all talking about. And again, we spent most of our time laughing and joking and just hanging out in the town of Whitfield. And they have a great hot dog place there, by the way.
That's where my mom got married.
Oh, wow. Okay. I love the town. I told Courtney we're going to take a trip back just so I can go to that hot dog joint.
Is it Pal's?
Oh, man. Courtney, what's the name of that place? Skeeter's.
Oh, okay.
Those hot dogs were, man. But yeah, so it was a good night. It was a good night. It was active, a lot of noises, unexplained voices, and things going on throughout the night. It's definitely a place, if team hasn't been in there, they need to check it out.
It's not too far from Bristol. We go to Bristol more than we go anywhere in Virginia. Right. Mostly Tennessee, really. we drive in and we're out.
You're right.
But,
not even a mile in, I don't even think.
No, we're on state line. Okay. So we're on state street. So needless to say, one side you're in Tennessee, the other side you're in Virginia. So, but
Whitfield's a cool town. It's other places there that is haunted that I didn't know about until I started digging into it. And me, I'm a cemetery guy. So there's a lot of cemeteries that are reportedly haunted there. I know some people aren't. I'll debate with them if they want to, but and we can talk about it. But I'll tell you, the cemeteries there have some pretty good stories that have gone for many, many years. So I would love to just go and check it out myself, see what happens.
We just last Tuesday we had an interview with the newspaper here. And we took the reporter to one of our local graveyards here.
Two of them.
Got two, yeah. Milton Cemetery is one of the oldest ones in Santa Rosa County, if not the oldest. I think maybe Coon Hill might be older, but it's pretty old. And there's a serial killer buried there. Ron drove right to her grave. I was so proud of him. And we took, because she wanted to see it. She wanted to see where it was. And we took her there, and she is like, why do you guys like cemeteries? I said, all the untold stories and the stories that are told are really important. Somebody needs to remember them.
Right.
And sometimes, and I told her, I said, your best friend when you're in a cemetery is find a grave, because sometimes you can find their stories while you're there. Yep. But there's a lot of cemeteries where you can't get any internet. You can't get any Wi-Fi, any
Right.
way to get any information. So we've had quite a few of those in the past. But I love going to cemeteries and learning about the people's lives, the way that they lived. And, sometimes it's sad to hear how they died.
Yeah, you learn a lot. That Find a Grave is gold to me. I've used it I just recently used it because there's a picture in our museum, Old City Cemetery, that it's a woman. For years, I went in there and nobody knew who it was. I'd asked the previous people and nobody had a clue who it was. And then finally, the new director gave me her name, said he found out some information on her. I went to Find a Grave and found out where her family's buried, what type of things she was into when she was alive. So now when I go into the museum to investigate, it's like almost, I forgot what that word is, deja vu, because it's like, man, I've heard this name come through so many times on our spirit box. She was trying to reach out, apparently, and we just thought it was a random name that kept coming up. And her dress, her mourning dress when her husband died, is actually in the museum. The one she's actually wearing in the picture that's in the museum. So Find a Grave just gave me a lot more options of things to ask and communicate and talk about. So I'm glad you brought that up. Find a Grave was great.
I like it. I mean, of course, I also like the genealogy sites. They give you so much more information. Because if you can find a name with Find a Grave, you might be able to find some more about that person. And there's so many genealogy sites, and some are even free.
I'm a member of Ancestry myself.
Ancestry can be expensive after a while.
Yeah.
But I do like newspapers.com.
Yes.
Because you can find a lot of stuff out there. But yeah, some of those sites are very helpful in learning about the people that you're trying to communicate with.
I had to write that down because newspapers.com is one I used to use a lot, and I stopped using it for no reason, just stopped doing it. So yeah, it's definitely
it's built into Ancestry.
Yeah.
So it's like I think it's an add-on.
Right. My only problem with Ancestry is when I get on it, it's like a rabbit hole. I'm on there for hours. I can't get off of it.
You have to go in with a list saying, I want to find this, this, and this. Yeah. And then when you're in there and you go, and then you up your subscription for that month to get newspapers.com so you can get all of it. So you don't have to pay for it all year for $11.99 a month, So right. I've done the free ones as long as I can. And
yeah.
I don't know how many different logins to get the free stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I've been down that rabbit hole myself, but those sites are great, for what we do as investigators. You want to know, you get a name and you're like, well, what is it? What does this name mean? You start looking up stuff and, that's how I found out. We got a full name in the spirit box, which is rare at Old City Cemetery. And it was driving me nuts. And I was using some of these sites to find out who they were. And sure enough, buried at Old Methodist Cemetery, which is the original name of Old City Cemetery. And it was like 3 of them, and they were father, son, and brother. And I was like, man, so these sites are great for research.
Oh, that's funny. She said, I saw a video on TikTok where it took you through the elderly couple's lives, and she was in shambles. Oh,
Courtney,
and I have seen some gravestones recently with QR codes. Like, I could see that if it's a historic cemetery, telling click, take the picture, get the story, listen to it. That makes sense. But on the average person's, I don't know if that's gonna be if it's gonna stick.
I don't know, with technology the way it's going, who knows? I haven't seen that yet, but I appreciate Kim putting that out there because now I'm going to start looking for stuff about that and like that. It wouldn't shock me though that they're going to start doing that because tombstones are, number one, they're expensive, and so I don't know.
And
if I see a QR code, I'm definitely looking for it.
I don't see obituaries written like they used to be. They're not as flowery.
Right.
I mean, I've seen some that were really honest. I've seen some really honest ones where you're going, my God, did they even love this person?
What did he do?
Yeah, I know. But still, you
Jim was a total drunk.
Actually, there's some that said this guy was an asshole, but it was all sarcasm. And that they said he would understand. He helped write this, but he wanted people to know the real him. And at the end of it, he goes, the guy who wrote it said, yes, I'm a dick. And I was like, okay. But I had to laugh, so
right.
I'm
gonna take a second and say hello, D Down. That's my mother. She decided to join us tonight.
Hi, Mom.
Hey.
So I would hate to think about the cemeteries in California. I mean, that's just one more loss out there that's historic in many ways.
Yeah, I saw that comment. The cemeteries burned in Cal. Man, that's hard to think about. I read somewhere though in Texas, I think, where you have like a certain amount of time that you can be buried in certain cemeteries. Then they dig up your remains and dispose of you, and put somebody else in that grave.
They do that in New Orleans.
Yeah, that's like rough to think about. That's kind of, I don't know.
100 years. It's 100 years. And then it starts all over. In New Orleans, it might be less than 100 years, but in most cases, it's 100 years. And then out you go. And
please don't put me, those of y'all who are listening, when I go and somebody else's grave, because I think my spirit's going to be looking around like, man, this stinks in here, Don't put me in here.
I think that's part of the reason that a lot of people are getting to the point to where they're doing cremations.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a space issue in New Orleans.
Yeah, they do. They are landlocked.
Wow.
They can't bury anybody. They can only put them in.
Yeah, can't bury you under. So
yeah, they have to put you in the mausoleums.
Yeah, I don't. That just seems like you're desecrating at that point. Like
it is. That's what I'm thinking.
But you figure that's been going on there for over 500 years.
Yeah. I don't agree with that, but I don't want to step on anybody's beliefs or customs. Just me personally, I don't. Hey, what's up, Brian Elder? Brian Elder's my brother from another mother. He was our guitar player for a while. Legendary guitar player around here. Yeah, okay. but yeah, the whole cemetery thing, thinking about them burning, evicting people when they die. I mean, I guess for some people it's normal. For me, it's just like, wait a minute,
But you think about this. Would you rather have your body removed, or you went through the whole trouble of being buried and now you're being burned? It's quite possible that these cemeteries could get messed up. Even down, with this kind of hot fire, it's probably just like they're in an oven.
I guess really when I die, I'm not going to concern what my body happens to it. I guess it's just a thought. When you're alive, you're thinking about this, but do the people buried really care? I don't know. Like, I mean, disturbing graves, they say, stirs up certain energy and spirits as well. So, I mean, I really don't know. I guess I'm going to find out one day, but I guess it's what we're sitting here talking about. It's like, man, you're digging people up and then you're cooking them in the ground with this fire and I'm not going to get into politics, but I think that fire could have been controlled a little better.
Yeah.
We won't get into. We won't make anybody upset. I'm known for doing that. Unless you go there. If you go there, I'm just going to ride that train with you.
I'm not going to go there. I do not want to give the government of California any of our time, but I do want the people of California.
We don't seem to have that problem here in Florida.
Yeah.
Y'all, Florida laws and again, I don't want to get into politics, but man, y'all doing something right down there. We'll say that.
That's why we moved here.
Well, like I said, I feel really bad for the people who.
Unless there's no snow and ice.
Who are missing loved ones right now. They don't even know where everybody is. I mean, this is as bad or worse than Asheville. I don't know. I do not know if it's worse. We don't know. And so it's just very, very sad.
So to answer that
I don't
question,
even know what.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
First off, I don't even know what water cremations are, so I'll have to find out what that is. So
yeah, Courtney, I don't know.
Tom says, do you think souls really stay by their remains? I don't think so.
Well,
what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are this. We actually investigate several cemeteries, including the one we host our investigation at. And what I will tell you is from the evidence that I've got, there are spirits lingering around in these cemeteries that I found evidence in. And I'm not talking my REM pod going off. I'm talking apparitions. I'm talking EVPs. I'm talking seeing things move that shouldn't move. You know, I'm not the investigator that has a REM pod go off and say, that's ghost. You know, that's not me. And, you know, some people don't like investigating with me because I can be too scientific. However, when you're in a cemetery and people see a shadow figure move, and I'm not the only one that saw it, you catch up with the next person who was investigating. They're like, man, did y'all see that shadow figure running? And like 5 or 6 people saw the same thing. When you have apparitions on your camera that of people in period correct clothing sitting there that was never there, there's something going on in these cemeteries. And I think we spoke briefly on it before. We don't know what that land was before it was a cemetery. You know, and if you go to Savannah, Georgia, there's a whole graveyard that's built on where a house used to sit and they used to party and have fun till the fire burned it down. So, I mean, you don't know why it would be attached. And, you know, I gave the thought of a spirit that they go to their home and their home's no longer there, but they remember their family would come and cry at their graveside for years and years and years. So they got old, forgot about you and moved away, or something happened. That spirit could be coming back. Or what if the fact that we're there and we're speaking to a spirit, maybe that would cause the spirit to come back and say, oh, wait, somebody's talking? Let me talk to that person. So, I mean, it could be a numerous amount of reasons that we can say, well, why would a spirit hang out where their remains are? Well, we don't know. You know, I don't know why I can talk to the air in the cemetery and something responds back to me. We're going to find out one day. But, you know.
My thought is that they're not there all the time.
Right. I agree with that.
Only there. I mean, when a tree falls in the woods, does it make a noise? If you're not there to hear it, do you even know?
Right.
See, that's the thing. So I believe that, my family members, they may be at the graveyard when I'm at the graveyard, or when somebody else is there for them that they think wants to talk to them. But I know that sometimes they're here because I see them.
Yeah, because you're there.
Yeah.
That's why they're showing up, I think. I don't think they're hanging out there. I think they're there because somebody's out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
and there may be some
they have a reason. They have a reason to show up.
Yeah, and there may be some, like you said, that have no family anymore, and they don't know where to go, and this is where they hang out. So the answer to that, Tom, is yes and no.
Right.
Yeah. As far as shadow figures, seen those a lot at graveyards, and that's where I see them at. Is mostly at graveyards. Anywhere else, I don't.
I mean, you take an Old City Cemetery. I'm not just trying to market it. You know, we don't even advertise it a lot, to be honest with you. But I've done my most research at Old City, and I'll tell you that the property itself has a ton of history. Dr. Terrell was a legendary Civil War doctor, and his Civil War hospital is on that same property. So there's no telling when they brought that office and moved it down to where it's sitting, what followed it, what's attached to it, what's attached to the items, what's attached to the memory there. I always pop the same question back. And Tom, that was a good question. And we're not bashing or nothing, but I always pop the same thing back. If I was sitting here and all of a sudden you see an axe come in, hack me up, and I'm brutally murdered right here in my house, why would I want to be somewhere where I was brutally attacked and murdered? my best memories didn't come from this house I'm currently in. I love this house. I bought it and I'm happy about it. But my greatest memories came from across town. That's where I would probably want to go back to and remember, not sitting here where I got hacked up by a serial killer. Right. So, the same question go anywhere. We go into houses where people were brutally murdered, killed, and we investigate those houses. Well, why would I want to hang there? That's the worst time of my life was right there. Or stories of people that lived like slave quarters. If I was a slave, I don't know nothing about being a slave. But if I was a slave, why would I want to hang out where I was working all day long and getting beat if I didn't work? And we all know the bad stories that happened to that. Why would we hang there? So that's why I look at cemeteries. And I agree.
I don't plan on haunting where I work.
Right.
I mean,
hope not.
I work. I work from home. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go wherever someone's calling my name and trying to talk to me, and that's where I'm going to be. People talk about they see their loved ones were with them when they were drowning in the Atlantic Ocean or something. They saw their dad reach down and grab them. You hear stories like that all the time. Well, they didn't die in the Atlantic Ocean. Right. Why was your dad there, or your mom, or your grandma? So that's how I look at a lot of with cemeteries. When people ask that, a lot of people ask that question, and I just tell them I don't know why they're there. That's why I investigate, because I try to figure out why they're there and what keeps them there.
I think the older the cemetery, the longer somebody's been dead, the better chance you have of random communication. And I'm going to say, and this is why I'm going to say that, because before the 1970s, we used to all have picnics at the graveyard. We would all go and not just picnics, but we revered our dead. We don't really do that anymore. We bury them. We might go and see them a few times, but out of sight and out of mind is what I'm seeing in today's society.
Right. People get forgotten about. That's very deep, by the way. I was reading that a second ago.
Ironically, the movie The Bluebird, there's a scene where they visit a graveyard and see a spirit, and they said no one comes to see us anymore. And like I said, that's why I think it's so important that, when we do go to visit graveyards, that we make the time to be able to walk around and talk to the spirits, or at least be available if they have something to say. Or again, find a grave and read their story if there is one. And if you can't, bring a notebook, write it down, and come back and look for it. Some of the best stories we've gotten have been from graveyards, especially here locally, because we don't know anybody here yet.
Even at locations, you'll have a family member or somebody will show up there that has nothing to do with that house or building you're investigating.
Your family members, I'm saying,
I've seen that many times at Old City.
Oh yeah, but they know you're there to invest. You're investigating. They know why you're there, so that's perfect place to go.
And it's also maybe how you investigate at a cemetery. When I'm in a cemetery, we all have an opening line. We start our investigations. Mine is always introduce myself, and then I tell them why I'm there. I'm here to speak to those who may not be able to communicate or have been communicated with in a long time. Saying that, if something hears that in the universe, why wouldn't they want to talk to me at that point? Some of them might not want to talk to me at all if they can see me. But if somebody hears in the universe where I'm at, where everyone's laying dead, I'm here to talk to those who cannot be communicated with or haven't communicated in a long time. That statement, if I was there, I would. And I've gotten crazy EVPs from a cemetery, and I've gotten apparitions. So, like I said, I'm not sure why, but that comment that Tom made, where the spirit said no one comes to see us anymore, and then where you're going with it, people forgotten about them. That's their chance to say, hey, right here, point that camera this way. And that's when you might catch your apparition or your EVP. I love investigating. I know some people think it's boring and it may seem like the low thing to do anymore, but me, I could spend all day in the cemetery. I love it.
Yeah, we get it because we do the same thing.
Like I told the lady at the newspaper.
We don't passed very many of them up.
It's the history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't move forward if you don't know what happened behind you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I really, one of the cemeteries that we took the lady to, the second most worst tornado. It was the first tornado, biggest tornado in Florida happened here in Milton, Florida. And this whole area got wiped out. And there's like 15 or 16 people buried in this one cemetery from that day. If you didn't know that and you go there, all you're going to see is that all these people died the same day, the next day, within a week. And you're looking at that and you just don't know the story. If you don't look it up, you're not going to know. And when I found that out, the youngest one I found was 6 months old from the tornado that died. And that tornado stuck in the history here until about 4 years ago. And it was a tornado. This tornado was just a tornado. It was in March of some year. I don't remember what year. But this last one that was really bad spun off from a hurricane. This one wasn't even hurricane related. But yeah, it's just really sad that, people see children have passed and they just assume something bad happened that was caused by a person. They don't,
right.
Or they were sick. No, this was something that if building codes were better, maybe these people could have lived. So,
I agree.
Hey,
I
April.
agree.
Hey, Ed.
Hey, April.
Oh, Howie in the house. April, shout out ASPS. Yeah, matter of fact, it's funny we're talking about this because Howie, Ed Odell, we call him Howie. He investigated.
I call him Howie too.
He investigated Old City with us a lot, and I find it funny that the different people are there with you investigating can bring on different things. So when Howie comes to investigate, he's got things happening that he's never seen before, and he's investigating a hell of a lot longer than me. And me, I'm just sitting there, my mouth dropped, trying to figure out what's going on. We never seen a entity interact with a laser grid using it as a yes/no or cut off and cut it back on, and all kind of weird stuff just starts happening. So I noticed different people bring different energies to a cemetery. One girl, we were doing an EVP session where everyone was asking questions. It would only respond to this one girl. And she was like, well, why is it only talking to me? And I said, you could resemble someone they know. It could be a family member. It could be anything that goes on. But I believe when you throw your intentions in the atmosphere of what you're doing when you're investigating, that's when you're going to get your best results. If your intention is to communicate with something, because that's 9 times out of 10, you might get something to come back to you. A lot of people who investigate that I've met, they just go out there and try to see what they can get without setting any kind of intention. So I believe that setting your intentions is real important. And you might be able to capture anything anywhere. In Virginia, it's one of the biggest battlefields. The whole state's a battlefield. So you could be in your backyard and get something to talk to you, and you never even knew it.
Right. But I know it's kind of like Maryland,
Yeah.
It wasn't really battleground, but there was battles prior to the Civil War there, Revolutionary and same as you guys, Virginia. I mean, Williamsburg, Jamestown, Yorktown. You guys got all kinds of crap down there.
Yeah.
And what did I say? My nephew-in-law, he was telling us about a jail over there in Virginia Beach, maybe near Chesapeake, I think. Maybe he was telling me about this haunted jail that he wants to take us to. So who knows? I know there's all kinds of stuff in Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Newport News, all kinds of different ones. And I told my sister, I said, if we do all this stuff, you do realize that our family could show up. And she goes, why would they? I said, because Dad had ties to Newport News. I had family that lived there for a really long time prior, but I don't know them now because, my dad died. Didn't get to know him. So, and April used to live in Norfolk, so she knows what I'm talking about. So I heard about the fairy plantation.
It's wonderful.
In fact, it's on this book that I have a story in. So
yeah, the fairy plantation, we went there a few months ago, and very active location. Very, very active location. We definitely want to get back. It's hard to get booked in there. Our booking's way far out, but if you get in there, it's definitely great. But no, it's funny you talked about how there were other wars before the Civil War. So like Gettysburg, for example, there was other wars fought on that battlefield before the Civil War. And people always reference the Civil War, but I've gone out there several times and I felt things other than war on that battlefield. Other than the Civil War. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but if you research, that wasn't the only war that was fought on that battlefield. And that's not the only bloodshed. Actually has a lot of Native American ties to it. So, and that's why they believe that it's so haunted. The quartz in the ground, all the blood that's been absorbed in the quartz. You don't know what you're dealing with out there. So I heard a lot of Civil War stuff, but I think that everywhere you go, there's just so much more than what you know. That's why I love history. And you've been talking about history a lot this show, and you're speaking my language at that point. I love history.
Well,
yeah, that was one of my favorite subjects. That and
yes.
Yeah. And I have a problem with pigeonholing our spirits. With example, Tom's going to remember this. I've talked about it before. We've been at a location and we were investigating, and I was telling them that there was a spirit there that was not from the time period that they were focusing on. And they didn't want to hear it. They kept going back to 1860s to 1910. And it's like, this spirit's from the 1970s. And they're like, oh, no, it can't be. Yeah, it can.
Yeah.
When you ask them point blank, what's one of your favorite songs from the 1970s? And it says Elvis Presley. I'm sorry, but
that's not 1860.
No.
1960 maybe. But, knowing that he died in 1976.
Elvis is dead?
No, he just went home.
Oh.
But as
I
far
thought
as
I saw him walking down the street.
Concerned, he's dead. Huh?
I said, I thought I saw Elvis walking down the street the other day. But I'm gonna ask you a question though. I know y'all are interviewing me, but I feel like our conversations are great. Why is that things get pigeonholed so much in the paranormal world? So,
don't know.
Did we forget about the Revolutionary War? Why is everything Civil War? Did we not forget about the French and Indian Wars? Did we not forget about all the wars that happened before the Civil War? Was George Washington a general at one time? I mean, everything, it seems to go straight to the 1800s. Everything.
Yeah.
Like, why can't it be older? I mean, Virginia is a very old state, and we don't know what it was before it was even founded. We don't know what was here, who was here, what was going on. So every single location you go to, it's pigeonholed to the Civil War. And I love Civil War history. I'm a Civil War artifact collector, and I'm a Civil War reenactor. I love the Civil War, but everything is always pigeonholed. People have been on that property in 1994. People have been there in 2003. So, me, if I know that when I go, if I have any control, I'm going to be everywhere, all over. I'm going to go visit places I couldn't even get into when I was alive.
Oh, yeah, I agree. It's like, now if you go to Williamsburg, guess what? I guarantee you're only going to be focusing on the Revolutionary War.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And I don't know why that is. And as Howie says, we know that things have changed so much that just technology alone, you know, you don't even have to focus on a war. Just think about the city of Baltimore, how much it's changed from the 1960s to now. How many people have died in different, not wars, just random acts of everything, you know?
Right.
Or even the people who they died from accidents where they fell off a boat and they drowned. You know, so we've got all kinds of stuff. You know, the War of 1812, Francis Scott Key. What, you know, we know that Fort McHenry is haunted. It's not haunted by Francis Scott Key, but you know, if you talk to people, they're going to say, "Oh, well, it's got to be him." It's like, he was on a boat. He wasn't in there.
He was watching.
He was watching from a boat. So if you want to talk turkey here, but yeah, I mean, we need to focus on what the Spirit's trying to tell us, not what history tells us a lot. It gives us a place to look, but that's not the only story. There is not the historic thing that happened there. Somebody made bread in the oven, or somebody had a campfire there long before. You know, let's look at what else it could be. It's not just this. I get angry at some of these locations that focus on just one piece of their history. Like, I'm going to call it out, the Wraith Chasers, when they went to the Missouri State Pen. Okay. They picked the story of the man and the woman, the only woman to be put to death in the gas chamber there with the guy that she was with. They kidnapped a senator's son and killed him. Held, you know, said they had him for ransom, blah, 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 all this stuff. They focused on that story. What about the other stories? The other people that were put to death there?
There were thousands of prisoners.
Interesting stories. Yeah. Or the people that died in gang fights in the jail. You know, they call it the bloodiest, 40 something acres. I don't remember, but it's really, why did you pick this story? Yeah. Why did you pick this story? Why didn't you let the spirits tell you what the story is?
Because everyone seems to focus on the one thing that happened somewhere where there's so much history. You know, I hate to keep talking about the cemetery, but you know, when people come to the cemetery, they want to talk to Dr. Terrell. That's where his office is. That's where the Civil War hospital was. I'm going to tell you, when I've investigated the cemetery over and over, and how was a witness, I've only one other person that had something tied to Dr. Terrell that we know of, and it was another team. It was FPRI. It was John Sullivan. He got an EVP when he asked what doctor's in the house. A voice came through his recorder and said Terrell, like plain as day, which is a great piece of evidence. But that's the only time it's ever happened. You know how many doctors are buried at Old City? A lot. I mean, there's a bunch of them. Lynchburg was full of doctors. So, you know, when he asked a broad question, what doctor is in here? And he kind of just threw it out as a question. That's the one that popped back. But, you know, we had Dr. Lushington come through our spirit box before, and everybody's like, who's that? You know, is
it possible that the spirit that's calling out the doctor's names just know that these doctors are there and it wasn't them?
I was going to go there too. How do we, you know, we talk about mimics. You know, I investigated at Rainworth Lodge and played my recorder back, and it was my voice, me talking. It was stuff that I didn't even say. And I'm like, so spirits can mimic you and mimic your voice and everything like that. How do you know who it is? So that's why I think it's important, and that when we investigate, we keep a broad mind. You know, it's real important that you know the history. I think some people like going in blind, but I think it's good you know what happened, you know the history, but you don't know exactly what you're going to end up interacting with, even if it's that spirit.
Yeah.
it's so much more to it than the one story that we focus on, or the one war. Yes, the Civil War is probably the most popular war in Virginia, but there were wars that built Virginia, and there were wars before that. There's always been war since the beginning of time.
Yep. And we don't know.
Paul asked a question though that I can't.
We got it.
Yeah, we got it.
And I hope I'm not jumping ahead of y'all, but sometimes I'll peek over to the comments and something sticks out. But
says, when you go to a haunted location and encounter a spirit, do you have a classification system for identifying the type of spirit being encountered? I keep hearing terms like elementals, mimics, etc. And sometimes we don't even have time to figure out what it is until after we leave. Right. One of the spirits that we saw, I saw the spirit in the Sally house, or multiples. I saw these things. I didn't know what they were. And they were running through the basement at the Sally house. And I told Ron and Carl and anybody who'd listen. And I talked to Dave. He's up in the north. Forgot his last name suddenly. But I was talking to this guy who he worked with the Warrens. And then I said, here's what I see. I see this thing. They're really skinny when we get there. Really skinny. And they're running around the walls, around the ceiling.
4 legs.
And no, 2 legs, but they can run with their hands going around, but they're running around. So like I said, I liken them to roaches, just really big, but about 1.5 feet tall. Okay. And I would see scary. 3 or 4 of them. And I explained to him what they were, what they look like. And he goes, they're imps. He goes, they're devil's minions. And I was like, I never even thought of that. So I look up an imp and I look at the picture of what people have said that they look like. And I'm like, that's it. That's what they look like. Ron and Carl actually got a Connects image and Gary of them. And they come up the stairs from the basement and they go, you're not going to believe what we saw. And they start to say it. And I go, they're the imps. And I mean, I wasn't there, but I knew what they looked like because,
about 3 or 4 of them.
I would see them running through there in the basement, skinny as hell when we'd get there. By the time we left, they were fat. They had been feeding off of our energy the entire time we were there. We would be exhausted when we would leave that place.
Yeah, well, we saw on the Connects, we would see it looked like a dog or something. About that size, a small dog. And it was in front of it ran in front of the furnace or near the corner of it. Then you see another one run up and it would climb up on top of it. And then another one would run up and they would climb up on the top. They were trying to make it like one big one is what it looked like.
That's wow.
Yeah. We were sitting there looking at it. It's like, we're watching this, right?
Right.
And
that's wow.
What is this?
And this was Dave Constantine. Okay. So if it was Dave Glidden, Tom, I would know that.
Yeah.
He's my paranormal kid. I know him. So Dave, I would get. But Dave Constantine, I haven't interviewed him in probably 8 years. It has to be at least 8. So, because we're coming up on my 10-year anniversary of this. So I do have a question for you, Sean. How does your mom feel about you being part of the paranormal?
Well, it's funny you asked that. So my family is very different, old school, and I'm way different than any of my other family members that I have. I'm truly different than all of them. To answer that question fully, it started when I was a kid. I was, about 6 years old, and my aunt died, and I saw her. And so I told all my family, none of them, they just kind of look at me like, okay, you don't believe it. When I came out publicly about, this is what I do. I go out and I investigate. The only person who consistently talks to me about it and believes in it and believes the stories I'm telling them is my mom. So, my mom has always been a big supporter of the paranormal stuff we do, but Mom has had the experiences herself. And now that I'm more public about it, more open about it, because in Lynchburg, I'm in the Bible Belt, so I can't really talk. I couldn't at one time talk much about what I do, but my mom calls me now when something happens and asks my opinion, and we literally go down a whole rabbit hole about what it could be. What I've investigated my mother's house before because of things she was experiencing in there, and but my mom is very consistent on when I talk, asking me about how my investigations went, reminding me to be safe, and she's a big supporter in the paranormal. Just about every show that I do, she's in the comments and interactive. So that's the one. Now my dad and I are like brothers. We're very close. I talk to him all day, every day. He don't want to hear about it. he's
that's how it goes.
I'm not saying he doesn't believe in it. My dad, I grew up in a funeral home because my dad worked in a funeral home when I was younger. And so I spent a lot of time as a kid in a funeral home. My dad's mentioned a couple times where he's seen something or heard something that he couldn't explain, but he doesn't really. If I start talking paranormal, my dad, he's like, all right, next door. He's not big on it. But as far as family, the only family member I have that really gets into it with me is my mom.
My mom used to listen to my show until the F word would come out. And then she'd go, I'm done. So I would have to warn my guests, I don't care if you cuss, but leave it to shit damn in hell.
Right.
And we'll be fine. I said, because if my mom hangs up, that means if my mom stops listening, then you've gone too far.
Right.
But my mom basically told me when I was young not to tell people. She goes, you can't tell people what you see and what you hear because they're going to think you're nuts.
They will.
And being from Virginia, my dad was born in Lynchburg. My mom was born in Saltville. So we know that part of the Bible Belt is very, let's go with, they argue amongst themselves in their heads about what they believe and what they don't believe. They don't want other people to believe that they're speaking to the dead when the dead's speaking to them. It's one thing to have them speak to you, but it's a whole other thing if you talk to them. So I was watching another channel and they were talking about portals. They described spirals. Is that the type of portal you guys have encountered too? Do you hear a wind sound when they open?
Well, before I go into that,
let you go first.
Well, before I get into that, I do want to shout out Carrie Whitby. Carrie's been friends with me for about 12 years now. She's been our camera person when we go out. She handles our equipment as well. And she's also a great investigator. She's a sensitive, so she picks up on stuff and passes the knowledge on to help us. And so she's on our team, Carrie Whitby. But I always try to shout out people I see that I know. But as far as the portals go, I think that word in our world, in our field, and you can tell me I'm wrong, and that's okay. But I think that word is very overused from investigators. Everything's a portal. And I think that portals, the way they project out the meaning of portal, it goes to people start thinking about a big hole that opens up and spirits walk in and out of it. If you go back to the Victorian time, why'd they cover the mirrors after a funeral? Because it reflected light and they didn't want the spirit to go towards the light. Or if you see a room with two mirrors facing each other, people think that's a portal. And I think I'm leaning more along towards that scenario. When I hear the word portal, I don't know a whole lot about them, but when I see two mirrors facing each other, I'm always like, okay, I'm going to investigate here first, because that's, the myth of the two mirrors. If there's a room with a mirror, I'm drawn to that room. I do believe that the mirror holds things that we can't see or hear, but we can feel it. If you ever go into a haunted location and there's a room with an old mirror, if you're a sensitive investigator, it will draw you every time. You got to think, how many people looked in that mirror? Who used that mirror? So I think mirrors can be portals. I think there's certain things that we have around us that can be considered what a portal is or what a portal does, as opposed to the sci-fi, so to speak, meaning of it. Now, there could be a big hole that opens up in a sky or a room, and things can walk in. I haven't personally seen that yet, but what I can say is that I've been in rooms with an old mirror, and I've gotten a lot of activity in that area or that room, or two mirrors facing each other. I have seen heavy activity with that. I've seen a mirror facing a window and gotten heavy activity in that. So to me, that's a hot spot, and that could be that's what my vision of a portal is. And everybody's different. Everybody's seen and experienced different things, but I just think it's over dramatized, the word portal. And I'm not saying that the question was over dramatized or he was saying that. I'm just saying in this field, that's what I see. I see a big over dramatization of a portal, but there's people who know a lot more than I do. So I can only speak on what I've seen and what I know.
I've been able to point out where a portal is, and people have been able to experience it firsthand. And it's very odd when you can tell someone there's a portal right in front of you. I wasn't there. I was here in Florida. They were I guess I was in, were we here in Florida?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
When I told them where the portal was in, out there.
The
cemetery. I think we were here.
No,
we were in Missouri.
Yeah, because we were doing it online.
Yeah, I was sick. So, yeah. So I've been able to do that. There was, and I do agree that the reflection, the reflection of a reflection of a reflection of a reflection can cause some strange sensations. Do I think that it's paranormal? I don't know. Most of the places that we've been to, the mirrors are fixed, so we can't move them.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the same thing with the window. It's a reflection of a reflection of a reflection, and it's infinity. And I know that they used to use that a lot on really old TV shows. I don't know if you remember some of those old paranormal shows.
Yeah.
They would do that, and people would, and now I think they would, what do they want to call it, a psychomanthium? Or is that four mirrors? I don't know.
I can't remember.
I don't know.
It's unusual. But do I believe that portals exist? I do. I do believe the same as you, that I think the word is overused, like the word demon.
Oh, God. Don't get me started, please.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on the word demon.
Well, it's true.
We had, we were tour guides at Sally House for 7 years. This is what I saw as far as a portal. For years, we've had different mediums come in the house, and they'd say, you have a portal in this house. And they would point in the dining room corner. And through the top of the house. Well, how many mediums said that? I mean, just about everyone. I didn't think anything of it. So I'm down in the basement. That's usually where I was at most of the time. And I had about 10 or 12 people down there. The Sally House is one of those that.
An internet issue. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you now.
We're probably going to have to stop the show. We're having AT&T is having an internet issue. And we're hardwired, so we know something's going on.
Did you get it?
No, there on the computer. It's
now we're good.
Now it seems to be fine. If it does it again, we're going to stop the show. Okay.
Yeah,
it looks like it's stable.
I was making sure my Wi-Fi was working. That's why I muted y'all real quick. I was like, "Is our Wi-Fi good?"
Yeah, I looked at you as you were frozen. I went, "Uh-oh." So are we.
I was looking at my, where my toolbar is at the bottom, and I could see that it was going Wi-Fi, internet access, no internet access, Wi-Fi, and it's like I'm hardwired. why would it be telling me about Wi-Fi when I don't use Wi-Fi for this?
Right.
So that means that our actual internet's starting to try to go bad on us. But AT&T, with all the new people moving in the area, it's bound to happen.
That sucks. This is such a good conversation.
Well, I don't know how much you heard, but like I said, we had lots of mediums that said the portal was in the dining room in that corner by the kitchen, and it went down the basement straight up. Well, one day I had about 10 or 12 people down in the basement, and this is one of these days where that house was very active. And what happened is I had them down there, and people said, "Can we take pictures?" I said, "Yeah, take pictures of the whole, anything in the basement." All of a sudden, the guy goes, "My camera's not working. My phone just went dead." I mean, everybody's equipment, anything they had, cameras, telephones, all were going crazy. And, everybody's coming over to me and going, "What do I do? Look at my phone just died," or, something. I'm like, okay. And I'm kind of laughing inside. I'm thinking, oh, something big is going to happen. This lady walks down the stairs, and she heard all the commotion, right? She goes, "What's going on?" Well, she come down the steps. She was taking video. She was walking around the house just taking video. She comes down the stairs, turns the corner, and everybody's looking. Was like, "How in the hell's her phone working?" And I said, I don't know. She walks right over to she pretty much ignores them. Walks right over the hole and goes, "What's in here?" And I'm sitting there going, "Oh, it's just a hole." So she starts filming, and I'm trying to help everybody else. And she goes, what is this? And I'm like, "Lady," and I look, and she goes, "What is this?" She's pointing, and you see a ball of light. This is down in the hole and down in the basement. You see a ball of light come from the right. It comes over. It gets bigger and brighter. It stops. It swells up, and then all of a sudden, boom, it just shoots up. And I'm sitting there going, I don't know what that is. Well, pretty soon everybody is quit complaining. They said, "What's this?" I mean, we're all huddled up behind her. She's just holding her phone. And then you see two balls of light get bigger and brighter, stop, and get sucked up. And then I said, they're getting sucked up in this corner over here in the basement. Well, later on, when I went and looked, where it was in that corner was directly underneath the corner of that dining room.
Where she said that portal was.
I guess it was a portal. I don't know. Like I said, I couldn't see it with my eyes because when I, put my head around her phone, I couldn't see anything. It was just on her phone. Now, keep in mind, her phone was the only one working out of all these people.
That's wild.
Their equipment was dead.
There's no light in the hole.
And I said, "If your arm gets tired, let me know. We'll have somebody else hold it." Because I said, "We got to keep watching this."
Yeah, daggone right.
He goes, "What is that?" And I said, I don't know.
That's crazy.
It went on for at least 5 minutes.
Stuff like that's what keeps you investigating. I was telling someone when people ask me all kind of questions. They ask me, do I find ghosts? Do I think they're real? Do I do this? Then I tell them I'm probably the most skeptical investigator, but I tell them if I knew every answer, I would never investigate again. There'd be no reason to. Yeah. So when stuff like that happens, that trips you out and has you, what it does to me is it just makes my mind work. And what is it? And then I call people. So I got the Para-Unity shirt on. That wasn't intentional. It's just the shirt I had on today. But the reason why I love talking to y'all, talking to other people, Howie will tell you the minute something happens, I call them. "Hey man, this happened. What do you think it is?" And then we have a whole scientific conversation about what else it could be than a spirit. And when we both can't figure that out, that's when I determine it's paranormal activity, which doesn't always mean a ghost. It just means it's something that's happening you can't explain. And that's the activity that I live for, is finding things that happen, like stories like yours. I loved hearing that story because now that's things I'm going to be looking out for, things I'm going to be listening for. And if I have that experience, that's when your phone's going to ring and say, "Hey, this happened."
It only happened the one time down there. I mean, I was down there probably thousands of times. And it just happened the one time. And like I said, when the balls of light stopped coming in, everybody's equipment started working again.
Now, you said it was going up towards where she pointed to as a portal. Was there an object there or is it just?
No, it was just a hole in the basement.
And you could see
and directly where these balls of light were shooting up in was right underneath that corner of the dining room.
The floor.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what I was saying about portals. You know, I think I'm not sure exactly what a portal is. You know, I was told that alien activity could cause a portal to open up before. So I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think a portal is any location that a spirit can enter or go into. It could be anything. It could be a doorway. It could be. I think the mirror thing has something to do with it because you were talking about how it was infinite. Anything that reflects light, anything that we don't know what was in that corner before that house was built. We don't know what that area was. I think there are designated places that spirits can freely come in and out of. I'm not sure that what we talk to is dimensional. Is there another dimension that we don't know about? There's the possibilities are endless. What you're describing would be magnificent to see. I would love to see that. I've never heard of anything happening quite like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you can only see it on her phone. You couldn't see it with your eyes.
Maybe it was something that she had, you know, some kind of gift like your wife has. You know, she can see things and hear things. And I think once things know that you can communicate with it, they'll draw to you more.
Well, I asked her later, I said, she was, you know, later on, she goes, well, how come my phone was the only one working and nobody else's was? I said, I don't know. I can't answer that. And she goes, I don't know why, but she said, when I was upstairs, her friend said, start taking a video. And she said, I started taking video. And she goes, I didn't know what I was videoing. I didn't know what I was supposed to videotape.
Yeah. We had a
she goes, she just said, put it on video, and she started shooting. She goes, we heard, you know, the commotion downstairs, and we thought, well, let's just go down there. And she goes, I don't know why I was drawn to the hole.
That's very interesting.
But the balls of light, the weirdest thing is they come in one ball or two balls. They weren't real fast. It's like they just floated and they just stopped. And then it would get bigger and brighter. And then just get like they got sucked up.
Wow.
And disappear, and then some more would come in.
The thing is, you know,
it was weird.
Another thing that Paul asked is, does it make a sound?
Did it make a sound?
No sounds.
Not on that. Anyway,
I think it depends on the type of portal or doorway that has been opened up. You know, and some people call them vortexes.
Yeah.
Which is a whole different other thing. But it's the same. It's different, but it's the same. You know, what is a rip? You know, is there, you know, a rip in the I don't know, in the plasma? I don't know.
In the veil.
But yeah, and people will walk through. I mean, if you want to envision it like you would if you were watching the show Supernatural and they ripped the seam and they walk through. I mean, it's a weird thing. Does it look like that? Don't know. I've gotten pictures of stuff that kind of look like that, but is that a lens flare? You know, again, no matter what I've seen, I'm still skeptical of what I've seen. What is it? How do I not know what this is? And I've been doing this for so long. I mean, you figure I've been witnessing spirits for 55 years. You'd think I'd know it all by now.
Truth is, we know nothing.
No, we know nothing. So I don't know. The portal thing is one of those things where we have to remain skeptical until we know more.
Yeah.
You know,
if we're meant to know more.
Doing it? Yeah. Did somebody make a portal happen there? You know, did somebody think about the land of the lost?
I never gave any thoughts about seeing a portal or finding one or anything until that. And then I thought, well, there might be something to this. I even set up a video camera down there, even 2 of them in that same spot, to try and catch it again. I have other people, just randomly shoot videos in that spot and see if we'd ever catch it again. And it never did. Never did.
Some people talk about things moving as a lapse in time, or that spirits are not stuck, but they repeat certain events at certain times, like a camera or a movie. And I often wonder, like when I see things and hear things, like we talk about residual energy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What if that's what we're catching? Is like, what if at that time, that day, that second, years ago, something was coming out of that hole, and that's what y'all caught? It could be. That's why I still investigate, because I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm learning, and I'm learning. The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know anything. So that's what keeps me investigating. I don't know about y'all, but the more it seems like, the more I feel like I'm making headway to learning something, boom, here comes another endless possibility list of things that I don't know anything about. So,
well,
you run across something you've never seen or experienced, and you're like, oh no.
Oh man, here, back to the drawing.
That keeps you going.
Yeah.
There's times I wish I didn't experience some of the stuff that I've experienced. But yeah, Howie, what I meant with the land of the lost, how they would get the Sleazak would sit there, or they would figure out how to put the crystals together to open up a portal. That's it makes you wonder if somebody did something similar with witchcraft or something in some of these locations. Or
you read my mind with that.
Or what did they do? Wow. Why is there a portal at this location and why isn't there one in my living room?
You read my mind with that. I was going to say that. And I was thinking, it's funny you said it. It's like everything I'm not saying, y'all say. But I was thinking, we don't know. They say the slaves were practicing voodoo and hoodoo and all kind of art magic. And we don't know how much of that was brought to what location, where it was at. Maybe they created a portal for protection to their ancestors before them could come through and make sure they were okay. And, I don't know. That's the thing. But I was thinking witchcraft when you said it. Before you said it, I was like, because I'm listening to your story, and while you're listening, I'm over here trying to analyze what you're saying. I'm like, well, what if somebody created this portal and they passed away and never had a chance to close it, or never wanted to close it?
Right.
And the thing is we don't know. And when you talk about slaves and stuff, my family was slaves. We came over, a bunch of them came over as indentured servants and were never released. Irish, so those people, they had their own way of doing things too. The Irish, the Scottish, they brought over their customs and their beliefs. That there's some kind of, it's not witchcraft, but it's what they believed.
Right.
What do we want to call it these days? We call it folklore.
Yeah.
But it was still their way of life. It was their way of dealing with the unknown. They would create their unknown. Call out the fairies to go, mess with the farmer who messed with their family,
Yeah.
It happened. And whether how similar and dissimilar these stories are, they all go back to a similar origin. That somebody may have done something that caused this to happen. And how far back are we going to go? Because people have been doing this stuff since before Jesus.
Yeah.
So, who knows? And and if we ever get to the point to where we know it all, again, we're dead.
Yeah, if we knew everything, there'd be no point in investigating. Detectives investigate because they don't know yet. They look for answers.
I tell everybody, them, if the minute I stop learning, I'm dead. We even learned something new yesterday. I'm not going to tell you what it was, but we learned something new yesterday.
We did?
Was it during OP Live?
What was that?
We're not going to talk about it on here.
Now everybody wants to know.
Remember the beauty bar?
Oh, yeah. I meant to look that up.
Okay.
It was something I knew nothing about, and it's in South Carolina.
I didn't know how she just had, I don't know, caught it on a little sign. Yeah. I never even would have paid attention to the sign.
Yeah, we were watching OP Live, and there was a sign, and
they pulled someone over in little
Richland
strip
County.
Mall.
So what is that?
And she pays attention to stuff like that. I'm focused on, the person getting pulled over and a cop, right? I'm not looking around and say, oh, there's a little sign behind there on the store. I could care less.
I said, what's that sign say?
And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the car on, something on the car. Or she goes, no, the sign. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, up there. And I went back and I paused it. She goes, up there. And I looked at her. I'm like, why are you looking at that?
I said, because
it has nothing to do with what's going on.
I said, I don't know what that word means. I have to look that word up. I got to find out what it means. I looked it up and I did not want to know what it meant anymore. But it's a business. Anyway, who knew?
A business we didn't know existed.
Yes, we did not know. Man, we know people steam clean rugs all the time, but we just didn't know that it existed. So let that go to your imagination and we'll leave it there.
I got you.
Yeah. And who would have thought in South Carolina? Okay.
Hey, I've seen a lot of things in South Carolina.
Filthy. I'm just saying those college kids are filthy. That's all.
I spent a lot of time in South Carolina. We just took our vacation in South Carolina, in Charleston. So yeah.
I think that's where this was.
Yeah, Charleston was very interesting. So yeah, I think I know where you're going with that.
Because I think Berkeley County is Columbia, South Carolina is the other one.
Spent some time there too.
Yep.
Oh, and Crystal was stationed in Charleston. Oh, great.
University of South Carolina.
Yeah, but I guarantee this business was not there when you were stationed there, Crystal. So, but yeah, it was just, we learn something new every day. We may regret it, but we do. We learn it. So what is Sean and Courtney's plans for this year?
This year, a lot of investigations that we're going to be doing. We decided to start taking on more cases this year. And once we gave the green light, our phone started ringing nonstop. So we're doing a lot more personal cases. We have a travel team with FPRI. So hopefully we're going to get together. Again, I'm all about para-unity. We don't do the drama or the BS. And I honestly love investigating with other teams and other people because I learn so much more. And things that I thought were right for years, I found out were not exactly the right way. And I've learned other ways to do things. And so, and we're open to anybody who wants to collaborate or anybody who wants to learn, or somebody has a location that they feel is haunted. I'm not huge on like the most popular places either. I want to go to the least investigated, the kind of off the beaten path places. And that's what we're doing this year. I plan on spending a lot more time in graveyards, of course. Again, a lot of people think they're boring or they're not haunted, but me, I love them. And if I get no activity, nothing happens, the best thing I get is the history lesson. I get to, there was graveyards. There's one here in Lynchburg that's old and it's nice and it's beautiful. And I found out that, we investigated at Rainworth Lodge, and the general that took over the Rainworth Lodge is buried in that graveyard. So to go up to the general's grave, just different. I like the history. So a lot more time in graveyards, a lot more off the beaten path places. That's what we're going to be doing. We're doing a lot of traveling this year, a lot of new locations. Again, I'm not really interested in a lot of the the popular that everybody's been to and that gets investigated every day. I'm not really interested in those places. I do feel certain places can be over investigated as well. So that's what we're going to be doing. It's a lot more traveling, a lot more growing, a lot more trying to learn more and trying. I've been trying a lot new methods when I investigate, a lot newer things. That's what we're planning, is just trying to grow as a team, and not grow member wise, but grow knowledge wise and what our abilities are ourselves. I want to get more in tune with my inner sensitivity and stuff like that. So we all got different goals with that. So nothing too exciting, but we're just going to try to investigate more locations, learn more, start trying more of our own methods, and go from there.
Trying different equipment or just different methods?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Are you going to be experimenting with some different equipment or just different methods? What you already have?
Both. For example, I'm trying different stuff with lighting when I investigate. I do believe that certain lights are able to capture certain things that other lights aren't. So different lightings, different type of cameras, different tools that I have, just a lot of different things that we're trying. Mainly, my biggest thing right now is lighting. A lot of people just use infrared and just use the red light cameras. And me, I'm going to try more of the UV light things. I'm going to try just different methods. I have some new equipment as well that I want to try out this year. So that's what my goals are. As a team, our goal is to get into more places that are off the beaten path, more places that aren't the pay-to-play places to go to. I found a lot of locations that have a lot of history. When I get to talking to the owner, they tell me about the history, and I kind of work my way into talking to them, and they let us get in there. So we're going to be doing a lot of that lately. I see Carrie Whitby comment, and she's a member of our team. So is her husband. And they're actually in my band as well. And he has an auto body shop that he works at. That's what he does, is body repair. He told me it was haunted. I'm like, that place? If you look at it, you're like, we went in there, got great EVPs, great things happening. So I definitely want to get back in there more. Just off the beaten path places. Whoever thought a body shop that sits on the side of a highway would be haunted? And once we got in there, I was like, you can't find any history on the place. You can't find, other than it was a Ford Motor place for years. But when I did the digging on Ancestry, I found out that several employees that have worked there died, and that was in their obituary, was they worked at this Ford place, which is now the body shop he works at. And I'm like, okay, so if somebody worked there for 41 years, is that who I'm talking to?
Going to work.
Who am I talking? Is that who I'm talking to when I talk? And this is several people that worked through the years that spent their whole lives working there in this place. And I'm like, okay, well, let me do more of the off the beaten path places. And we've gotten great evidence from there.
Yeah, Tom mentions that you might want to use different sound frequencies as well.
It's funny he said that. It is funny he said that. So that's another thing I've been experimenting with is recorders. I noticed that my Zoom $300 recorder can hear a squirrel fart a mile away. But the 1998 DR60 I have picks up way more EVPs than that recorder ever has.
Yep.
What is the frequency thing going on? And that's been bugging me. Why does my body cam that I have sitting right here, why does this pick up EVPs, but that Zoom doesn't? Or the other Zoom, I have two different ones.
I have a theory.
I want to hear it.
You want to hear it? Theory is that the spirit picks which device they want to talk through.
Right.
So they may be getting up right in your face and talking to you, and you're not hearing them, but you're hearing the EVP. So if they want to talk to you and you're holding this in your hand, they may go look at the Zoom and go, I don't know what in the hell that thing is. Mm-hmm. And they're going to go somewhere else. But the DR60, if it's at Panasonic, there could be a lot of reasons why you're getting it, because those have been people use them because they get EVPs, whether they're real or not, they get them. I don't know. I've never had one, but I know that I've read a lot about them and about the reason why they stopped using them.
Yeah, some people just use a regular cassette recorder.
Yeah, I have a cassette recorder.
Well, the story of the DR60, I love that story. I think we know the same story, because I did some digging on that. But I have the Panasonic QR100 as well. That's picked up things that, again, none of my Zooms pick up, but my body cams picked up stuff. My little night vision camera I have picked up stuff, and that again has stuff on a different wavelength because it's a military monocular is what it is. So and that picks up recording. I'm just wondering, what is it? I heard the story about Panasonic and why they stopped creating the DR60. And at first, when I first heard it, I was like, "That's bull crap," and then I saw people debunk the DR60, and so that drove me away from it. And then, actually, John Sullivan's the one who had a DR60, and the stuff he was getting on it, there was no way you could explain how he got that. And so I had to get one and experiment with it. And the guy I bought it from, I was able to talk him down on the price, and he said, "I never got anything with this. I don't understand the hype of that." And the first day I got one, I was in a graveyard, as a matter of fact, and I had something talk to me on it. And I'm like, wait a minute, only people here are me and Courtney. We didn't say anything. So how did that come through? What is that? And so that's going to be another experiment. I'm going to use my recorder more, because for years, 20 years, I never got a EVP. I thought everybody was just making it up. And then I started getting them when I got the DR60, and I'm like, okay, that's cool that I'm getting them, but again, the way my mind works is why? Why is it coming on this recorder and not any of the other ones I've ever used?
Yep. Well, David, if you're listening, Susan brought you up. So, and Susan, I think he did use using different frequencies in some of the experiments that he did at Bar Harbor. So I wasn't there, but I know I watched some of the videos that he did on that location. So, but
I want to get a FLIR camera, because 4 are out in the graveyards. Just, being outside.
FLIR is great.
I want to use.
It is
That's
great.
What I use FLIR.
That's one of my favorite pieces of equipment that I have is a FLIR. Mm-hmm. I've seen some amazing things on a FLIR.
You have the one that hooks into the cell phone, or a real one?
I have the little square. It looks like a cell phone, but you attach a little mount to it, and you can carry it around on your hand. And the prices come down a little bit on it too. They are expensive. And I had a regular thermal imaging camera, just a little handheld one, a cheaper one, and they're good too. But it's nothing like a FLIR. The FLIR actually will map out a person and their movement. I mean, the FLIR is great. And it also shows you hot and cold spots in a room. Yeah. So if you're aiming at a room that's showing heat, and all of a sudden a cold spot just stays in one spot, it makes me go right to that direction. So I love a FLIR. I love my FLIR. I don't go anywhere without it.
I tell you, our goal this year is to make it to Virginia, see family, and you guys, hopefully.
Yeah.
If we go to Virginia,
we have to drive right by Lynchburg.
We're gonna hunt you two down.
To go to Virginia Beach, we have to go that way. There is no good way getting around Virginia. Period. If you don't take the interstate, those little roads are dangerous as hell. The cops really love you if you go over a mile over the speed limit.
And state troopers are waiting on you.
They are. Mm-hmm. Florida plates. Getting a ticket.
You'd think you're bringing drugs up here.
Yeah, look at me. I do. Well, you know what? I am.
You'd be the perfect drug dealer. You'd be the perfect one.
Yeah. A 60-year-old grandma.
Yeah.
Not yet. I'm not 60 yet. But I am a grandma.
Don't add years now. You can't add years yet.
Well, we were talking about going to Ireland this year. And I was sitting there and I was looking at all my stuff and I go, oh my God, I'm going to be 60. And I mean, I didn't realize it. I didn't think anything of it. And when we come up to Virginia, if we come when I want to come, it's going to be around my birthday.
So we got to celebrate.
So, see, that's the thing. My cousin's wife's birthday, my niece's my great niece and my birthday are all at the same time, plus our daughter's birthday. So it's like our daughter, my cousin's wife, my great niece, and then me. We got 4 birthdays in 5 days, all in the same area. So we have to go to South Carolina and Bristol and all around. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, I didn't realize that I was getting old. But I will say that 60 is the new 40.
Give me something to look forward to here.
You got a lot to look forward to. You went through your surgery and you made it through great. You're off of all your medication from all the heart crap. So you're doing great.
I am dropped 40 pounds in 6 months. So heart's beating good now. Heart's back to normal. I'm very thankful and blessed.
Yeah, it's hard to believe what you can do when you feel good.
Oh, man.
And you're not terrified that you're going to have a heart attack every time you turn around.
Off the paranormal stuff, my plans were hiking this summer. So, definitely. Hey, Debbie, yes, I will come back to the mansion, the Haunted Octagon Mansion. I was telling them earlier in the show about the great experiences we had there.
You go there a lot, don't you?
I've been twice. But I talk to the Cushmans a lot. They're like family. Great people, great host, and just great people to talk to outside of, ghost hunting. It's when you meet certain people in the paranormal world and you click with them, they feel like family. Right. So, Debbie and John are great people. That their mansion, if you go in there and get not 1 ounce of activity, it's so beautiful in the way they have. It's a museum. They turned it into a museum. So they got nothing but, you walk in there and there's nothing but artifacts. And if you like history, you'll have to love it. And then yes, her husband's hair, John's hair. It's like, you ever seen those people where you just can hear him say, "Don't touch the hair"? That's how his hair is. His hair is just. I think I went on for like an hour about his hair the last time I was there. He hung out with us for a while.
Well, see what I know about Wytheville, I learned on Ancestry. I did not know that my mom got her marriage license there and got married in Wytheville until after she died. And I looked it up. I was looking up something and it had her marriage certificate on there. And on it, I found out that she lied about her age. She was only 15, but she put on there that she was 18. She also put on there that her mother was dead because with her family being in Saltville, somebody may have known them. That's why they had to go to Wytheville, because maybe nobody knew her there. And so that's where they went and they got married when she was 15. And, then the other thing I know about there is the Major Graham house. I saw it. We were driving to Gretna. We were driving to Gretna. Me and my kids. I had taken my kids to where my dad was buried, and I was meeting up with my sisters, and we get, we're going by Denny's and I see this building and I told the kids, I said, that place is haunted. And they go, how do you know? And I said, I just know. Okay. I didn't know what the name of the place was. We came on our way back the next day. We stopped at that Denny's and I asked somebody what the name of that place was. And they told me it was the Major Graham house. And so I was really just wanted to know more. So, I mean, I followed it through time, but when did I go? It had to be 12 years ago. So, and I know that they do paranormal things there and some other stuff. In fact, I think it was on ghost hunters. It was on some show. Maybe, I don't remember now, but that place was an enigma to me, but I haven't been back there. I haven't been back to Wytheville since I went to Gretna that last time.
Wytheville's great.
And I mean, it's not like I haven't been far. I mean, if I'm in Abingdon, I'm not far from Wytheville.
Abington's got a lot of haunted history.
Yeah, no, my mom told me.
How far is it from there?
What,
Abington.
20 minutes from Abingdon?
Yeah, when I was in the military, we got called up to do some things in Abington that I can't speak of publicly. But while I was off duty there, I was literally the ghost stories and the it's great. Abington's great. I want to get back to Abington.
I just know that I like
Abington, the one we went through?
Yeah, it's the one that's got the
from Bristol to
Pikeville.
Yeah.
Drove by the historic hotel, and every time we drive through, it was always raining.
Yeah,
pouring down rain every time we went through Abingdon. So it was really strange to get to 23. You know, you had to go off this road and you had to go through town to get there. And we always went by the Martha Washington Hotel, or is it Mary Washington? I think it's Mary Washington.
I think it's Mary Washington. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I huge hotel
definitely want to go back.
And then that beautiful theater across the street, also haunted.
Yes.
But like I said, my mom told me, and my mom was not big in the paranormal stuff until I was on Ghost Adventures. Who'd have thunk?
Yeah.
So, Martha. It was Martha.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I have trouble with, because a friend of mine does tours at the Mary Washington house up in near Richmond. See, that's why I have a problem between Mary and Martha. Makes sense. So yeah, Barter Theater. So, well, you know what? I hate to do it, but we've got to say goodnight.
Yes.
It's that time. So I would like to thank everyone for joining us here tonight, because we had a great time with Sean. We missed Courtney, but Courtney, he did a great job without you. So be rest assured that we will be asking both of you to come back at some point. I would like to thank Things Network for allowing us to go live on their network, and thank you for letting us be part of Things Network as Things of Florida. I'd like to thank Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment for allowing us to go live on their platform. And you can end the Bill of Rights Network. Where would I be without them? And thank you, Born TV on Rumble, for allowing us to be there. And I want to thank you guys all for listening. And check out Dark Realm TV on Roku and Amazon Fire. Soon to be coming to Apple Fires or Apple TV. So check that out. If you have any questions or have any ideas on guests that you'd like to see on this show or on Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal, on Tuesday nights at 5 p.m., please reach out to me and I will see about getting them on. I'll schmooze them like Sean does with the owners of the paranormal locations. I'll schmooze them. So there you go. You got a new nickname, Schmoozy.
The Smoozy.
Smoozy.
I like it. The Smoozy.
Say that fast 3 times. So join me here each and every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central for the Paranormal Pride. And we'll find out whom I do have a guest scheduled for next Monday. You'll find out on Sunday who they are. So join us tomorrow night with our guests, John and Izzy from the Lantern in South Carolina. They're out of Greenville. So it'll be interesting to hear their stories from South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. They even had some Virginia stories and one Kentucky one that I know about. And that one was about the Dill Cemetery in Pikeville, Kentucky that we've been to, related to the Hatfields and McCoys.
Nice. Smoothie.
So it's tough. You're screwed.
Hey, I love it. I love it.
So thank you guys and have a great night and stay warm and keep California in your prayers. Thank you and have a good night.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.